entitled, cosmopolitan, and demanding.
Our generation has been brought up by parents that want us to be educated and involved and engaged, and that's what we're doing.
Millennials are the nation's largest living generation and the most racially diverse. 43% identify themselves as non-white. The social media generation has grown up, and they are transforming everything from politics and communication to lifestyles and workplaces.
The strength of this country is our diversity and our religious freedom and our freedom of speech and assembly. And what I hope for is solidarity among millennials and different communities so that we actually support that diversity.
But as the country moves to a majority-minority nation, how are millennials of color faring compared to their white counterparts? And are they influencing their generation for the future? Welcome to Basic Black. Some of you are joining us on our live broadcast, and others of you are joining us on Facebook Live. I'm Callie Crossley, host of Under the Radar 89.7. And joining me tonight are Massachusetts State Representative Juana Matias, who represents the 16th Essex District in Lawrence and is one of the first Latino women to be elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives. Justin Kang, Vice President of Strategy and Growth at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. He is also the founder and executive director of City Awake, an organization focused on empowering the next generation of leaders here in Boston. Kim McLaren, Associate Professor of Writing, Literature, and Publishing at Emerson College, and Samuel Gebru, Chairman of the Young Democrats of Massachusetts Black Caucus. He is also running for Cambridge City Council. Welcome to you all.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So that everybody's on the same page, the researchers have defined millennials as those born between 1982 and 2004. You all, as a group of people, have now bypassed baby boomers as the largest cohort in the nation right now, and you have $1.3 trillion worth of buying power. So that's a lot of energy, that's a lot of presence all through the nation and certainly in our culture. So I wanted to begin this way because, of course, millennials of color are a smaller subset of the entire group. What is the contribution that you think, and what do millennials of color particularly bring to the table? I'm going to start with you, Juana.
Well, I think we definitely bring a different perspective. I think that our needs and wants are very different from the non-43% of non-white millennials. And I think it's important that we're heard, but I think that in order to be heard, we need to make sure, in order to influence, we need to make sure that we vote. And I saw, particularly in my campaign, how sometimes millennials don't understand how local government really has an implication on the things that they're really passionate about and the values that they care. So I think it's about continuing to empower our minority millennials and allowing them to understand how government is vitally important to the things that they care about in their future.
Samuel.
Just to add on to that, I think the other thing is both of us are immigrants, right? And as an immigrant, there's a completely different need and want there. And part of it is just the cultural shock and trying to understand how to navigate a brand new system and a brand new culture. But I think our needs and wants are similar to others, but in many ways we come from a disadvantage of sorts, perhaps, whether it's with wealth inequality or income gap and the lack of perhaps a strong foundation that others have. But I think in terms of immigrants, they are a hard-working and very persevering group of people. So coming to the United States and for me, seeing how hard my mother worked, that certainly inspires me.
So you're taking some of that hard working from the other generation and saying that's a piece of those of millennials who are immigrants.
And it propels me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justin.
Well, for millennials of color, the real truth is that we represent the changing face of leadership in this city, this region, this country. As mentioned in the introductory segment, millennials are the most racially diverse group ever in history. So with that comes a number of positions us in where we can empower and really choose the direction of what's happening. And we see it right now with my colleagues here. Sam's running for city council, state representative, here in Greater Boston, which has such an interesting history of race and the complexity there. It's an amazing thing to see city councilor Michelle will be the city council president, and there's just so much amazing things happening where young people and young people of color are stepping up.
So Kim, not a millennial.
Not a millennial, just barely.
But you are definitely interacting with them on a regular basis.
Yes.
And so looking back, they've said what they think their contribution is, their contributions are. What do you say?
I think they're right on target. I mean, I of course teach millennials, and I'm raising 2 of them. Right then, my daughter actually turned 20 today. So I guess I shouldn't have said that. But anyway. I think the representative is correct in that as powerful as the millennials have been, and of course I see there's 2 groups. In the 10 and 15 years I've been teaching, there's a difference between the older millennials and the current millennials. And so the disengagement in politics, the intense engagement in culture, and the intense influence on culture in this country is without question of millennials. And in terms of social media, Black Twitter, I mean, the driving of culture and social media has been ongoing. But I think the engagement in politics has not been until now. I think we're going to see a turning point now for obvious reasons. And I'm excited about that. So I think the changing face of leadership, I hope that's true. And more than leadership, we also need citizenship and interaction. And I think the psychological difference that I see in millennials of color as opposed to people of my generation is going to be vital. The sense of the entitlement in a good way, the entitlement to be to be fully citizen, the expectation, perhaps that's it, the expectation of full and complete citizenship is, I think, different in a good way than our generation.
Post-millennials are called Generation X.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
Z, rather, I think.
Yeah, we kind of got lost in between all those
Right,
generations.
right.
Anyway.
But there is a distinction between millennials and then that generation afterwards. And one of them is, for you all, at least for a moment it seems, and maybe still some. I mean, I would go out to speak to groups of millennials, and they would insist to me that we are in a post-racial society. And I would go, where are you living? And I found that a little bit shocking. It seems now we're seeing a little bit more coming around on that.
Well, they say that the current millennials that we have now are the most tolerant and the most diverse. Yeah. So you see them a lot, supporting a lot of social agendas and social issues. But again, 50% of millennials, and there are about 80 million millennials in the country, are politically apathetic. And I think you made a great point. It's like, how do we continue to engage them? How do we continue to educate them on the power that they have, but they just need to use that in a way that can create the change that they want to see.
But why did you get engaged? I mean, because you've just, in fact, when I read the notes, you said that when you started door knocking, you had to take the time to explain what a state representative does. So most people were that disconnected.
Yeah, no. So I've always been interested in public interest work and government and being an advocate. And I just saw in my community, which is highly immigrant community, about 80% of people who live in Lawrence are from another country. They're English is their second language. And I just saw that we needed effective advocacy, that we really needed someone that would go to the State House and advocate on the issues that we saw in our community, which were education, which were workforce development, which were criminal justice reform. And I'm there sitting and seeing the issues we have, and I said, I have to do something about it. And I had been preparing for it. I went to college with this intention, and I took the very difficult decision to get engaged, and I ran for office. It was very difficult, but I think that the fact that I was young, people appreciated that in my community. They were tired of this old form of politics, and their message to me when I was hitting the doors was like, yes, new blood, a new perspective. And I talked about issues. I was able to really articulate, this is what's going on in our community, and this is what I'm proposing that I wish to do. And it worked. But again, I go right back to the issue. When I was campaigning, I tried to reach out to young voters. So my district, the city of Lawrence, the median age is 30.8, so you can round it up to 31. So it's a very young district, but they are not the ones that go out to vote.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they're disengaged and that they don't care. It's that they just don't necessarily fully understand the channels to get engaged in.
Or that they don't trust the system.
Well,
that's
there's
another.
that.
That's
That's another.
That's what I've seen is the well, they're all corrupt. They're all. It does. It's
Right.
all broken.
It's
so.
the Jill Stein voters, from last year.
Right.
For me,
See where that got us.
I think what you said, Kim, is very important. There is a sense of entitlement in a very positive way. We, at least me and people like me, we are impatient. I call myself an impatient optimist. We're not going to wait for someone to do good. We're going to make it happen, and we're going to take charge. And I think the internet has a lot to do with that. We're far more global. We're more understanding. We're more progressive. We're more ambitious. And from your bedroom, you can connect to all 7 billion people in the world. And it's an exciting time, in my opinion. So, and with the current political climate, I mean, it makes it even more of an imperative to.
Government doesn't work that quickly.
Right.
It doesn't.
And I was about to bring
the
Justin
challenge.
into this because you all are sitting on the net globally connecting, maybe. But you had a hard time getting folks just engaged in your effort to say, hey, we should be taking on some leadership roles.
Yeah.
And why was that? Because, as Samuel has just said, you're connected everywhere. You know everybody online.
Yep.
But face to face.
No, the efforts we're trying to do with City Awake is a simple premise around organizing. We see a lot of constituencies organized. For example, at the Chamber of Commerce, we represent business. Unions represent labor. For our initiative with City Awake, we are engaging around 662 millennial civic leaders throughout this regional planning process. And we definitely curated this group, and what we did, to overcome the struggle of identifying civic leaders, we reached out to over 300 organizations saying, your community best, whether they were corporations, nonprofits, volunteer groups, nominate up to 5 individuals who are in their 20s or 30s and let them represent you as we go through this process. So,
but you just talk about how did you get them to step up? Because Juana has said, Samuel has said they're out there, Kim has said they're out there, but the next step of actually doing it seems to be the big leap.
I think it's a question of being proactive and reactive, and for us, we're trying to give them the platform and letting us do the heavy lifting. For example, we're doing a survey with the Boston Foundation where we're the first annual sort of next-gen millennial report cards asking questions like, do you think this region's safe, affordable, et cetera, because oftentimes millennials are spoken in anecdotal clickbait articles, right? What we hope, though, we just simply asked our cohort saying, just fill out this survey, right? And let us use you as power of numbers to represent your interest. So we try to do bite-sized actions, host events, et cetera, and let us sort of allow us to leverage their organization to start representing them. And it's definitely been a pilot, definitely an experiment, but we're happy with where things are going.
So let me just say that, millennials of color have some very different circumstances. Some of you have alluded to that. But in general, 40-some% of millennials are living at home with their parents, first of all. So we're talking about a lot of debt and a lot of other financial issues that perhaps didn't hamper some of the baby boomers as much, at least in getting started, that you could get started easier. What impact does that have in terms of keeping you from maybe moving in a leadership direction or taking up a cause bigger than yourselves because you're trying to eat?
Yeah, I was just to applaud these both great young leaders is that if you're burdened with that or living at home, it's entrepreneurship, running for office is oftentimes a situation of privilege, right? And to start a company and not take a salary, or to run for office and not take a salary, that's a situation where inhibits young people to really take that risk. So by all means, with so many young people under debt or living at home, it is definitely a barrier for seeing some people step up in leadership roles.
Yeah, I think, go ahead, Sam.
Just to add to that, a lot of people in my city, in Cambridge, I mean, if you're a millennial in Cambridge, you're most likely living home, and
because the rent is so high.
The rent is so high. But the other thing to also remember, 2 things. One is millennials, we're at the age now where we're starting, I'm 25. In a few years, I may get married. I may have kids. We're beginning to take on sort of more adult things, right? So we're going to start I think in the next few years, you're going to start seeing millennials asking bigger questions and wondering, well, what does the financial market look like and what does home ownership look like? And then the second thing I will mention is black home ownership in Massachusetts and black net worth in Massachusetts is very low. I mean, it's almost non-existent.
And nationwide.
Nationwide as well. And so for me, the importance here for millennials of color is making sure that we can establish ourselves and make something out of ourselves. But for a lot of us, 2007, 2008, 2009, with the financial crisis, really kept us back. And these staggering college loans for many people just make blossoming out of that cocoon impossible.
And that's an important point. The economic point that alludes to what Justin was saying is that I don't know if you have any, excuse me, statistics, but I would venture to say millennials of color, a higher percentage of them are first generation, by which I mean either immigrant or first generation to college in general, so that they don't have that parental support. And there was just a study that came out last week about the wealth gap that continues, and that a black two-family, it has less wealth than a single-parent white family. That has an impact on what the child can do when they get for a job.
And just in college, most of our students, at least I can speak, with Latino students, they have 2 to 3 jobs and they're trying to go to college. And, you don't have your parents who are, giving you assets and are helping you pay for college. And
so
that just
you can
makes
do an
things
internship
harder.
in the
Exactly,
senator's
you're
office
gaining
or
more
something.
experience. And one of the things when I ran for office, I decided to leave my job, and here I was. Like, how do I make this happen? And I didn't have a mom and dad who were just going to maintain me, because my parents are immigrant, and they had their own limitations. Our parents are looking for us to support them when they get to older age. So our circumstances...
And by that, that's very much a trend. That's been surveyed and documented, that most millennials of color who have what some may consider to be success in their lives early end up supporting the family.
They're pulling the whole family
the family is not supporting them. So it's like 3, steps back to your getting to where you're trying to go in your life along the way. So what are the things that you think is really critically important for us to understand about, what it's going to take for you all to really, I guess, assume the biggest mantle of leadership, because there's a lot of struggle right now with, you see some of the baby boomers that will not step aside. We're aware of that. Folk will not step aside. And some of that is that they don't think you all understand how to do anything. And in some instances, you're not proving yourselves to seem like you do. Let me just say. I don't mean any harm or anything. But you know what I mean? It feels, while you all are distrusting the system, it feels as though you're throwing out all of the accrued history and context that has been laid out there before you.
I think what you said is, I agree, spot on. I think it's, and I speak a lot about sort of intergenerational relationships. And, as context, I started City Awake a few years ago, and it was only last year where my organization was acquired by the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. So 2 very, sometimes cosmetically, different organizations. But what was most compelling of me about this partnership was trying to cross that bridge by saying, where Boston's so instinctively divisive, that maybe we can work across what people often says divides us. But I would say that you're right, where millennials, for whatever reason, have created this pressure, what I sort of refer to as the Forbes under 30 conundrum, symptoms of where we feel like we have to be successful by 30. And I was in that category, and I'm happy with my career now, but I remember in college I started 4 nonprofits, because that's what sort of, and I say that with a lot of regret, because, ultimately, for us to appreciate the history and the complexity of these social issues is something that needs to happen. And then on the flip side, I think older generations have a position coming from a place of fear, where they think they're, young people are innovative, et cetera, and they feel threatened. So what I hope is that the city and this region can work on intergenerational relationships and having it come from a place of empathy. That's what I'm hoping for.
I also think that for millennials, it's a little bit not fair, because here we are with massive amounts of loans just to get a BA or, to get a post-degree, and we're not getting homes at the same age that we saw the prior generation doing. We don't have the same assets that they would have had at the age of 30. So I think we're a little behind. If you know, I was looking at statistics in my district, and marriage, people are getting married later because there you are getting your master's degree or getting higher degree, and you're still trying to just find a job, and you're indebted with tons of loans. And so I think that the system right now isn't very helpful to us in terms of getting us where we need to be when it comes to establishing our families and moving forward. And it's because we're incurring incredible amount of debt just to get an education.
Just here's an interesting statistic for people who might not know, that marriage, according to all the surveys, is very much less important to you all. There's a lot of cohabitation right now, but marriage, you may get to it, you may not. That's not really.
That's changing more,
But it's also because of our economical circumstances, where it's like, who has 20 or 30K to go get married when you're just trying to eventually hopefully buy a home?
You don't have to spend that much, but
it's expensive.
Just, building assets and maybe owning a home or owning a car, or being able to survive a year of rent without your parents' assistance or something. The other thing that I will mention, just to your point, Justin, as an African, as an Ethiopian, one of the things that we emphasize is listening to your elders, right? And that intergenerational aspect that you're talking about, the intersectionality, is very important. For me, I think it's important where we capture the wisdom and the experience of people older than us, and then also the energy and the passion. And on some levels, being naive and being optimistic is a good thing, because you don't carry the baggage of the past. But that's why, Kim, your job is so important as an educator. I mean, just seriously, it's your job, and it's the job of teachers all over this country and the world to make sure that we're armed with that context and that history.
And in my experience, I do think the stereotype of the entitled, privileged millennial is overblown. In my experience, these young people are hardworking, energetic. This whole idea that everybody got a participation trophy and therefore they expect to be patted on the back is overblown. There is a kernel of truth in that, and that's what I think you were touching on, Callie. And part of that is just youth. It's youth's job to be impatient. It's the job of youth to be impatient, to push, and to not listen to their elders. I do worry about the throwing away of history, and the not learning from it, and the insistence that every point of view is equal, because they're not. There's informed points of view, and there's ill-informed points of view. So that is an argument I do have with my students all the time. They say, well, my opinion is just as important as yours. I say, no, it's not. It's not as valid as mine, because my opinion is informed and yours is not, right? So that's the difference. But in terms of hardworking and intent, and, I mean, the entrepreneurial spirit is huge, and that's vital. I think they're the future.
Baby boomers of color always felt like they had to carry the burden of race, because if they were advancing, they advanced for the people, and they had to carry it. Where do millennials fall on that responsibility? Do you feel that, or is that, it is, but I don't feel like I'm carrying the cross?
I think it depends. I think that you just can't conglomerate millennials into this big group, like African Americans, Latinos. And I feel like for me, particularly being the daughter of immigrants, being an immigrant to myself, it's really important. Like, something that motivates me and pushes me is, am I living up to, my parents' sacrifices? It's something that's always on my mind. My father left everything in his home to come here so that I could have better opportunities. So it's something that motivates me, but I think it depends on who you are as a person and what your upbringing is like, and how involved your parents were, and how much culture is important to you.
And I'll just add on very similarly, for me, as my parents moved here in the late 70s, I very much identify with my immigrant parents and the sacrifices they made, and I have a personal passion around sort of developing Asian young leaders, and just because oftentimes, when I was being raised, my role models were Michael Chang and Jackie Chan, and I do think you empathize and you aspire to be who you see on television or in positions of power, and too often for Asians, especially Asian women, they're often seen as passive or non-ambitious. So, for me, that's a motivation factor that I didn't really realize until a few years ago, where I work so hard, because that's to credit to my parents. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think when you succeed, in my instance and in a lot of immigrant instances, when you succeed, the whole community succeeds with you. You lift people up. I don't think it's so much of a burden as it is, for me, it's inspiring. Even with the Young Dems Black Caucus, it's one of the things that I hope to be able to do over the next few years is to crisscross the state and find young black people who should be running for office, who could serve on Beacon Hill with you and in city council with me. And so I think it's when, whenever I'm in Capitol Hill, I always have a big smile on my face when I see a fellow black man in a suit,
Yeah, that's good.
So you don't feel it as a you just feel it as a responsibility.
It's a responsibility.
Yes,
it's a
yeah.
positive
Right.
responsibility. It's encouragement almost.
But you're allowed to be individuals in a way that perhaps we weren't. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm. It felt
which
like
is,
the,
which is
know,
great, which is great, right? But you
Yeah.
you don't cringe when you see something happen on television and you say, "Oh, I hope that wasn't a black person," right? Somebody.
You all don't do that.
You
right?
guys don't do that, right? Like
No.
that's what our mothers do. Like, "Oh my God, somebody does something criminal."
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
say,
My
"Oh, I hope-"
community, there's always some negative publicity or something negative going on, but I think it doesn't speak to all of the amazing things that happen and all of the amazing contributions that my community does. Even though the media might focus on the negative, I think there's a lot of great things going on.
I'll be interested to see after people get to know you more in your communities and you are known to be role models, how you feel that. Because believe me, it's something to have people come up to you in the grocery store and say, I'm just pulling for you. I'm watching you.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just you or even your
You're carrying
family.
it
It's
with you.
incredible.
It
It's
is.
incredible. And
Right.
like I tell people, I'm always really thankful. I always get calls and just random
Yeah.
calls.
It's
and
an
people,
awesome responsibility.
It
It's
is,
incredible,
it is.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait for that. And Justin, now you're out there past Jackie Chan. So it's got to be that. I'm going to tell you that. All right, people. They all seem so nice, but in a few minutes we're going to find out about the demanding and entitled people that they are. But this is the end of our show right now, and I thank you for joining us, and thank you to all of our guests. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, but stay with us right now for more of our conversation with these fabulous millennials online at Facebook Live. Thank you so much. Welcome back. We are on Facebook Live with our post show, continuing our discussion on millennials of color. Send us some questions or comments while we continue our conversation. So how come you all aren't demanding and entitled and awful people that, believe me, I've worked with some of you other folks. I've seen the ugly side, and I know you have too.
I have, but I don't think it's.
That's a good question.
I know how to answer a negative, but
I will say, well, I think in college I was very entitled because oftentimes we were in this college bubble, and I didn't really get to explore the world as I should have. And I think I hopefully matured over the last 8 years. But I personally, and I think my panel peers here will agree, it's just I very much appreciate the immigrant experience, independent of the whole political hostility out there right now. But I very much have realized, and the people I most respect and admire, the common thread is coming from if they were immigrants or if their parents were immigrants. And it's just sort of that ethos, that work ethic that I always sort of just, I'm like, oh, I get where you get that work ethic from. Because,
Yes.
so that's at least from my perspective.
Yeah, my upbringing has a lot to do with how I see the world and the way I carry myself. Both of my parents, educated, came here, had to take on factory jobs, and I saw them sacrifice their entire lives just to provide for me and my 3 brothers. So, and I wasn't privileged. I came from a low-income family who were working both, meaningful work, but earning minimum wage. So my parents' struggles always kept me humbled, and I always remind myself every day, I've been very privileged in these last couple of months to really do what I love, and I always remind myself of where I come from. And I have my mother is still in my life, and my brothers, and just seeing them and always remembering my story keeps me grounded.
No, that's good.
One word. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say one word: mentors. I think that is so important. I mean, I constantly remind myself and remind people around me, I stand on the shoulders of many people, and starting from my mother and onwards, and the amount of adults who have taken a chance on me and who have opened doors for me and who have let me into their lives and given me the most important thing in my opinion is experience and wisdom, and the opportunities that I've had in my life. Those people have really blessed me with, and so I think it's important to have mentors. And as a young man, as a 13-year-old, I realized immediately, if you want to get engaged in public service, if you want to get engaged in nonprofits and whatever else you want to do, you need mentors. You need people who know better than you. Who and the other thing, what's the saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? Find another room, right? And so never, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, 10 times smarter than you. And so I've constantly tried to do that because it makes you strive to even be better. So I would personally, I agree, and I would say that some millennials may be entitled, but I would push back and just say that a lot of us are hardworking and are trying to, again, the impatient optimist thing. I think a lot of us are really trying to make something out of the world.
What I saw was what I've seen, and this is changing, and this changed a lot because of this. May be the one bright spot of the current political situation is my concern. I mean, I think we have an extraordinary panel here, and in some ways, particularly because of their immigrant experience, they're not representative of African Americans, for example. And what I saw, my concern with my African American students was the flip side of the sense of expectation, rightfully so, about being full citizenship, was a belief that all problems had been taken care of.
I see.
And so when they got to college and they encountered racism, they were shocked and wounded in a way that, excuse me, we were never wounded personally, I think, because we were prepared.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of lack of preparedness. This comes out of that whole idea that we were post-racial. Not that people, I think people did believe it, even though they claimed they didn't believe it. Some people did. I know some of my students did. So that when they encounter obstacles based on race or gender, they're shocked and wounded in a way that worries me. I mean, so I think that has now dissipated. I think everybody the wool has been pulled. The scab has been removed, and as painful as it is, it's a good thing because now they know what they're confronting. And
I think a great
there's
example.
a question from Facebook live poster, and they want to know, well, what do you all mean by your generation is more tolerant? Racially, like what does that mean? How do you live that in your life?
Well, I think that from what I've seen in my experience, and please feel free to join, state your opinion, but I think that we're open-minded to diversity. We don't believe that we need to impose our values and views on someone else. We're just accepting of our differences, where I think the prior generation, you don't see that as much. And I think it has to do with the fact that we're so diverse, and we come from so many different backgrounds, and we're exposed to people that come from different backgrounds, and that just really changes our perspective of life and what life should be like.
I'm going to let you all answer that, but I'm just going to challenge you in this way.
Please.
It seems to me, I'm looking at online at Halloween. I know this seems a silly thing, but the kinds of stuff that pops up at Halloween in people's costumes, and then you confront them and say, excuse me?
But that grows out of this belief of being post-racial. They think it's okay to put on a sombrero and appropriate somebody's culture. So in some ways more tolerant, but in some ways that tolerance, as I said, it's insensitive and ahistorical. And that's what I was talking about. I think the tolerance, when people say, I would also question what people mean when they say tolerant, because I think it probably has more to do with gender issues and queer issues and stuff like that. Like I look at my students, they're very open-minded on LGBTQ issues, which is great. But when the racial issues get a little more sticky, so I would break that down in terms of tolerance, right? That would be my.
But it still is America's original sin, right? It's still that thing that it's the elephant in the room. We're not trying to talk about it, and President Obama's presidency sort of washed away everything, right? Or so we all believe. I think it's important that we talk about these things open. Now I see a bigger wave, though, not just on LGBT issues, but this intersectionality. You have a lot of white folks that are taking up Black Lives Matter, a lot of millennials that are driving forward that movement, even with Occupy and that movement. I think we're seeing people on some level beginning to understand that you need allies. And one thing I've always talked about in terms of gender issues is you need men to really step up and become feminists, you
Yes.
know, and that's just, you know, one thing. So I think, you know, we need allies, and we need people to realize that, okay, you know, March on Washington happened, you know, decades ago, but we're still fighting here, and we still need co-equals. We still need allies to come in and say this is an important issue.
And
you
to
know?
give credit, some of the stuff that's just happened recently with the Muslim ban and immigrant
Yeah.
ban, and you're seeing, you know, people who don't necessarily identify with being Muslim or
Absolutely.
an immigrant showing up to these airports and showing up to marches. So
Yeah.
is it everyone, and have we reached where we need to be? No, but it's great to see the solidarity of this movement that I think, you know, 20 years back, you might have not seen it to this extent.
Okay, so I'm just going to continue on my negative nanny route and just
Yeah.
say,
Get off
with
my lawn.
no, with the Women's March, which was, by all accounts, fantastic, gathered up folks, many people who had never been in the same space together, but one of the chief issues before they got on the ground was intersectionality. And it was an understanding that there's lots of folks here with different issues. Now, how do we do this? So, because the initial posters were the white women were first. Remember this?
Yeah, but they weren't millennials. That's
No,
part
I'm
of the
just
problem.
But driving
And
the
defense.
crowd, you know, a lot in the people in the crowd were.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Eventually,
saying.
yes,
So,
yes.
and that, but that had to get worked out. That's my
that
point.
to get worked out. And I think like sometimes it's like, who is at the organizing table?
Yeah.
Who has
Yeah.
the leadership
Yeah.
roles?
Yeah.
Right.
And is it people of color, and is it people who can identify with minority groups? Because if they don't, it's going to be really hard for them to advocate. You can find people that meet this exception, but generally, you know, when you haven't lived an experience as an immigrant, when you haven't been someone who's of color, you don't necessarily understand the way society and life affects you. So it's important that we make sure that we are at that table when we're making important decisions.
Yeah. And moving beyond marching, I think what's important, I tell people, you know, our politics needs to be inclusive, right? And we don't all have time to be at the decision-making table, but this is, again, where voting is very important, right? If we're not coming up and we're not voting and we're not electing people, especially as millennials, more baby boomers vote than millennials, right? So we're letting people who are not going to be here in 40, 50 years determine what Social Security and Medicare and all these other big things look like, right? And that's, or home mortgages or what, I mean, like, big things that we are basically ceding our power and responsibility over. And I'm saying, you know what, you're getting the short end of the stick here. So I think it's important that we realize who's at the decision-making table and that our politics are inclusive. Right?
And I live it.
Well, Justin, you're making decisions for me now. So, you know, I need for you all to be really informed and know what's going on and deal with some intersectionality. Because you're making me a little nervous, your group, let me just say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not your group per se, but the group. You know?
Yeah, I think, you know, even in the work that we do in terms of making sure, a big focus as we were sort of building out our cohort, 650 plus people, was making sure, and that's why we did the nomination process, because if I just went out to my friends, and even though I have a racially diverse group of friends, it's not socioeconomically diverse, right? It would be very limiting. So we went to the organizations like, you know, everything from, you know, Blue Cross Blue Shield to National Black Women's Society to Young Education Professionals to Combined Jewish Philanthropies, because they know their constituency best. Now, we've done a pretty good job. This data says we're about 65% women, 40% people of color, and we're happy with that. I think we could do better next year. But even with those lines, and even though race and gender are often the first indicators of diversity, next year I want to strive for educational attainment, socioeconomic stuff, neighborhood diversity, because ultimately, you know, same thing. If we're just preaching to the choir,
That's right.
you know, we're going to marginalize somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to folks who are not millennials, or even the people behind you, the Generation Zs, that it's important to take away to understand where you all are coming from and who you are? Any one thing?
Well, I think Justin said something very important. It's that we are the face of the future, but in order for us to really move our agenda and make America what we believe it should be, we need to be involved. And that starts locally. A lot of people, you know, you see high numbers in presidential elections. Local elections are just or more important. So getting involved and finding out what's happening in your neighborhood, what's going on in your school committee, how are your roads and neighborhoods, like, get involved. Because if we're not happy and content with what's going on nationally, and I think that's the sentiment, I think this is the moment for us to really organize and start getting involved and becoming educated on the issues that we care about and figuring out how can I be, you know, a factor of change.
I mean, I think that's a terrific advice. I mean, personally, I don't want to devastated by what happened by November, and I think the best thing we can do is just make Boston, Greater Boston, Massachusetts, as a shining example of what the rest of the country should be. So, and it's unbelievable to understand, not to accept or appreciate how much our local legislators, city councilors have in terms of determining our future. So, but that means we should have more young people running for office, working on campaigns. And it's the sheer fact, I think, the baseline, though, is education, right? People, I don't think if you ask anybody how many city councilors are there in Boston and what their responsibilities are, they won't know. And, but the challenge is, is that a lot of millennials, I think, are very transient. They don't know if they're going to stay here long term. So it's about building those roots.
Yeah.
So it's a weird chicken or egg thing, but regardless, we'll see. That's a conundrum that we need to tackle.
Can I just say, I know you want to ask him, but just that's why it's important, and I'm so thrilled to hear you say that next year you want to do neighborhood diversity, because the transients, is particularly in Boston, among millennials, is students. But of course, there are folks who are raised here, right, who are not leaving, who are working here, who have family here, and if you have family here, you're more likely to stay here.
Yes.
So it's great that you got your organization is recognizing that issue of diversity.
Yeah.
I think, to reiterate, what's important for me is, armed with our history, understanding where we've come from. If you think America is a book, you can't write the next chapter without knowing what came before. And I think that's important for us to realize, that we're just building on the progress that has already happened, and we're maybe correcting some of the shortcomings that have happened in our history. And so it's important that we are aware of what has happened before. It's important that we do have mentors and role models and other people who can arm us with wisdom and experience. But again, impatient optimist, that's what I am. And I think that's how we have to keep moving forward, by getting involved and by understanding that if you don't pull yourself up to that table, if you don't say that this is for me to be involved in, then somebody may not invite you. And it's important for us as millennials, again, being armed with wisdom and people who are much older than us and who can relate to, in many ways. I think it's important that we get involved, and now's the time. This is the year. I really firmly believe that. This is the year. This is the year you're going to see a lot of millennials. I mean, like 6,000 women have registered now to run for local office. Yeah, I was seeing it on Twitter
across the country.
It's crazy, but it's exciting. It's encouraging to see that, and especially with again, local government is the government that impacts you on a daily basis. Those are your potholes. That's your education curriculum, and it's very important that we're talking about education. We're talking about civic awareness. That's where it starts, with the educators, with the teachers,
People also need to understand
that
local government draws the districts that determine, of course, who gets elected to the federal government. So gerrymandering is all part of it. So it's really important.
Yep.
Well, here's my unsolicited tip for those of you working with older folks in your workplaces. I know you didn't ask me. Before you come in with all of your great innovative ideas of how to make it all right, just take a moment and do it the old-fashioned way, and then tell me afterwards, here's a better way we could do it, because that's just really annoying. First go round.
I agree.
Just a tiny bit.
And I think you're hitting a point that I've noticed. We need to be more patient. Like, sometimes I meet with young people and they're like, we need this to change. We don't want this kind of food in our cafeteria, and this needs to happen tomorrow. That's not how government works. That's not how policy works. I mean, it takes time, and you need to learn how to work within the system first.
Right, and we both need to listen to each other, but I can't hear you if you're trying to innovate me from the time you meet me. Just take a moment. Just take a moment. Whatever you do.
It's probably good that government is slow, because if you're going to be impacting thousands or millions of people, and if you're going to be making permanent decisions, you have to think 2 or 3 times about it before you go.
And then I pledge to listen more on the other end too. That's get folks I know to take a moment to listen to what you have to say. So thank you all very much for your insight and wisdom in this conversation. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Justin. And thank you, Juana.
Thank you, Cal.
Thank you. Such a great conversation.
Thank you.